Hey there, Cerise here. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for subscribing. And if you haven't, I would love if you could consider it. Guys, this is story time. And I am located right now on the north coast of the Dominican Republic in a little town called Sosua in a neighborhood called Los Charamicos. I love it here. If you're looking to relocate, let me know. This story time actually comes from the north coast of the Dominican Republic. This story is quite twisted, very bizarre. So let's get to it. Guys, you know when a woman puts on makeup, right? She could look totally different. Yeah, some of you guys have a really good eye for it. You can tell that it's the same woman even though she is all glammed up. Some of you guys can't tell at all. Well, this is a case where the man couldn't tell at all. Let's give this man a name. Let's name him Tim. So we have Tim. Tim, he lives here in the north coast of the Dominican Republic, and he's been living here for about 5 years. He came here as a retired vet. So he's living in Puerto Plata, in the main city, the north coast here, and he lives in Puerto Plata full time. Now, Sosua is a beach town 20 minutes away from the Puerto Plata center of the city. About 25 minutes, depending on how you're driving. Okay, so this is where a lot of men come to play with women. I'm just trying to keep it PG here. And yeah, this is where a lot of men come to meet women, and women who are working women, ladies of the night or day, whatever you want to call it. That's where they come to have their fun with these women. So Tim, he's been living here for 5 years. He said to himself, he's tired of that lifestyle. He really wants a solid woman that's not on the streets, a woman that's not trying to, live a life of fast money and free lifestyle. He wanted a working woman, a woman that's working in a bank, a woman that's working in a store, a woman that's maybe a maid, works in somewhere. A legitimate job is what he was looking for when he was speaking to a new woman. Now, he loves his Dominican women, and he is not trying to get with a matrix woman. He is not trying to get with an American woman. He's not trying to get with the women from where I'm from, Canada. Not at all. He loves his Dominican women. And I really can't blame him. Living here, I have also learned to appreciate the culture of the women here. It is amazing how they treat their men like kings. So, let's move forward. He came here one day. Now, he comes to Sosua, the beach town, just to have fun. So one day he came here and he saw a new woman. A woman he hadn't seen before. And he said to her, he's like, hey, like, how you doing? Why don't you sit down and let me buy you a drink? So she said, absolutely. So she told him, after about 5 minutes of talking, 10 minutes of talking, how much her price is for her services. And he said, all right. He was cool with that. And she was so beautiful. He was like, you know what? Come back to my hotel room with me, because when he comes to Sosua, even though it's only 20 minutes away from where he lives, he doesn't like to take women back to where he lives. So he rents a little hotel for the weekend, and he doesn't do this every weekend. Only when there's big events going on, like someone putting on a boat party, or if there's a bunch of Americans coming in for a certain weekend, like football weekend, the NBA finals, something like that. So this is one of those weekends, and he met her and he took her back to his hotel room, and wow, did she ever knock his boots. And he could not forget about her at all. So he started to make private trips just to see her once a month. And, he had her phone number, and he'd let her know that he was coming to Sosua, and he would meet up with her, and he started to really enjoy her company. But the problem was, Let me take a pause for the cause with my coffee here. Dun, 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 dun. The problem was she was sleeping with a lot of other men. And this was an issue for him. He did not want a woman that was, on the stroll type of thing. He wanted a woman for him and him only. So he told her straight up, because he asked her, he started to get curious about her, and he's like, so where do you live? And she's like, oh, I live around. And like him, she did not want to give out all her private information either. And so he's like, okay. He's like, well, you know what? He's like, well, I really like you. I would like to hire your services once a month and like make this a thing for you and me. If you can meet me here once a month, we'll do this and we'll just have fun. So she became his regular. Now, she started to catch feelings for him. And she told him this one day. She messaged him and she's like, Tim, it's been a few months now. Like, it was a lot of months, the two of them getting together and having fun. And she said, Tim, it's been a lot of months now since we've been together. And, I think I'm catching feelings for you. And he's like, no, please don't do that. Like, I am not into marrying your type of woman. I love our fun that we have in the bedroom. I love that, we have this understanding, but please don't catch feelings for me. And she said, okay. And he said, I'm looking for a woman that can be a wife. And she's like, well, I could be a wife. And he's like, well, you like to have a lot of fun. And she's like, well, I have to because it's part of my job description, pretty much. And she's like, at times it's even a, occupational hazard, like going out, drinking, and having to do that all the time to get customers, visitors that come here and everything. So she's like, she didn't even want that lifestyle any longer. She wanted to be a wife. And he's like, no, it's okay. I've learned not to trust women like you. And that was it. So he closed it down. Any talk of relationships. One day, she is in the mall, La Serena. Now that's kind of like Walmart type of thing, right? And she's in La Serena in Puerto Plata city. And who does she see in the mall? She sees Tim. But guess what? She wasn't all glammed up. She had her hair in a bun and a little ponytail, no makeup on, jogging pants on, and just running shoes. And she was just running a few errands for herself. And she stopped and she looked at him and she's like, Tim. And he looked at her and he's like, do I know you? He didn't recognize her without her makeup and wig. And she said, yeah. Now, at this point, this is where it gets tricky. At this point, she's speaking English to him. Before this, she didn't speak English. Okay, she spoke only Spanish. Now, granted, her English is not all that good, but on the streets, she always uses a translator. And the guys usually speak Spanish. So Tim, he speaks Spanish. He didn't realize his working girl could speak broken English. This woman was speaking broken English to him because she was so excited to see him in the store, and she's like, Tim, it's me. And he's like, who? And then, he looked at her and he's like, do I know you? And then she realized at that moment that, okay, you know what? Maybe he is just trying to pretend that he doesn't know her because they're not in a work situation. They're like in a mall. And so she said to him, oh, all right, well, okay, and she walked away. And he said to her after when, they were like, because she said full out, Tim. And he's like, do I know you? And she's like, oh, no, okay. So she walked away in embarrassment, trying to save him face. And he looked at her and he's like, wait, like, where are you going? And she just took off. Now, he met her outside in the parking lot. She was waiting for a motor control with her bags. And he said to her, oh, do you need a ride? And she's like, no, it's okay. And he's like, okay, well, listen, here, take my number. And then she looked at him and she's like, your number? And he's like, listen, you're a beautiful woman and I'd love to take you out for dinner sometime. And then she realized that Tim did not recognize her. Could you imagine? So let's fast forward. She contacts him, but she contacts him from another cellular phone number. Because now she's like, okay, she has a chance to be with the man that she loves. And all she has to do is dress down. She doesn't have to wear a wig. She doesn't have to wear much makeup. Nothing at all. Just natural. And so she went out to dinner with them. And they started to really enjoy themselves in a beautiful relationship. Now, here's where it gets sticky. She still had to make money. Like, he started to ask her, so what do you do for a living and everything? And she lied to him. She said she works as a maid cleaning a villa in Sosua 3 days a week. But that was a lie, because she is cleaning 3 days a week, but she's not cleaning a villa. She's cleaning pipes, all right. But you get what I mean. So she had one main client. And he's a German guy that lives in Sosua, and he pays for her transportation to go to his villa, and she spends Mondays with him, Wednesdays with him, and Fridays with him, and she spends the whole day there. And again, she doesn't clean the villa, but she definitely cleans him. And that's what her job was. And then at times she would go on a stroll if she wanted extra money. But her other full-time job was Tim. Once a month going to see Tim. And so this is what she was more like, a call person. You call her. And she was more like that. Well, one day, after their beautiful relationship and everything, they're still in a great relationship. And, she said her name is, let's say Tammy. That's what she said her name was when she's dressed down. When she's on the stroll, her name is, let's say, Karen. So, him and Tammy are going out everywhere, but one thing she also did, which you guys should know, is she made love to him differently as well. She didn't want to come off as a professional inside the bedroom. When she realized that he was liking her for her, she didn't want to get all into the nitty gritty with her professionalism in the bedroom. She wanted to do something different for him. So she played like she was, didn't really have much knowledge at all when it came to that area. And so he wasn't quite pleased with her in the bedroom. And he tried to teach her, and, she still played dumb. So what happened was, he did fall in love with her. He took her everywhere with him, to all his friends' places. He has a lot of friends that are vets that live in Puerto, Plata, Santiago, Santo Domingo. They went everywhere together. Then, he started to think about, obviously, Karen, the working girl. He started to think about her and that good time in the bedroom. And he thought to himself, it wouldn't hurt for him to still go once a month and see that girl in Sosua, but also have his main squeeze, his main girlfriend who he loves and trusts and, is only for him. He didn't realize that his main girlfriend, when she told him she was going to work every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, she was actually going to do the Karen job, if you get what I mean, because it's the same woman, right? He didn't realize this at all. So, one day, Tammy goes to work, and he decides that he's going to also go to Sosua. So he gets to Sosua, and he's with a buddy. He meets up with a buddy. And his buddy also lives in Puerto Plata. And his buddy looks at a woman on the street, and he says to Tim, he's like, Tim, isn't that Tammy all dressed up? Tim looks across the street, and he's like, no, that's not my girl. He said, I know why you think that's Tammy. He said, because I've been with that girl before. And his friend said, let's say his friend's name is Frank. And Frank's like, no, that's Tammy dressed up. And he's like, Tim's like, Frank, Tammy is not a working girl. Like, stop talking about my woman like that. Frank's like, dude, you don't see that is your woman? She walks the exact same. He's like, watch, let me call her. He called her. And he's like, Tammy. And the girl looks over at them. But when she looks over at them, she played it off like a genius. She looked in their direction, but she just kept looking in their direction and past them because she saw who it was. And then, Tim was like, Karen, And then Karen, then she made eye contact with them. And she looked over at, Tim, and she walked over and she spoke in Spanish only. And Frank's like, I swear that's your woman. Right? And then, Karen walks away. Karen looks at Tim and she's like, Hola, papi. You want me right now? Like, ¿tú quieres me? She's saying it in Spanish. And Tim's like, yeah, later on in about an hour, come back here. I'm going to be ready for you. So she said, okay. And she left. Frank's like, buddy, that is your girlfriend. Well, you guys got some funky game going on. You guys play this like weird game for foreplay or something. And, Tim's like, no, like, what are you talking about? I wouldn't have a woman that works the streets. Frank's like, well, you do, and you just don't know it. And they got into a little bit of an argument, and Frank was adamant about it. Frank's like, you can't see that's your woman with just a whole bunch of makeup on and a wig on? You can't see that with long eyelashes and dark lipstick? You can't see the difference? And Tim's like, how hard are you looking at my woman? And Frank's like, well, your woman's a really nice looking woman, but you don't see? And then, he's like, come on, man. Tim's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about at all. So to prove his point, Tim's like, yo, dude, listen, it's not my woman. It's not some funky, crazy thing we have going on. That is a woman. I've been with her before, okay? You want me to hook you up with her? You want me to hook you up with her? She's good. And her rates are really reasonable. And then Frank's like, you are weird. Why would you want to hook me up with your girlfriend? You know how many times, I've seen Tammy? Well, come on now. And he's like, that's not Tammy, it's Karen. Tim was adamant about it. Tim, when Karen returned, right, an hour later, obviously, Tim's like, listen, Karen, I want you to go be with my friend tonight, not with me. He thinks that you're my girlfriend. He's just crazy. And you know what? Frank looked at Tim like, brother, are you nuts? Do you not see that this is your woman? Right? And so what did Frank do? Frank reached over, grabbed her by the hair, and yanked off her wig. And Tim looked at her. Tim's like, okay. And Tim still couldn't see anything. He still couldn't recognize the fact that that was his woman. Frank was like, yo, dude, you need help. You guys are weird. Frank got up and left. He chose a different woman and he went with another woman, and he was just laughing at Tim. He thought Tim was just really into some kinky stuff. Right? So now fast forward. What did Tammy do? Tammy picked up her wig and she obviously walked down the street as Karen, and that's when, Tim was just like, I'm sorry, but I don't really feel it tonight. I'm going to go home. Let's hook up another day. So he went home, and when he got home, he took a good look at his girlfriend, a really good look at his girlfriend. And then, he was like, it can't be the same woman. So he asked his girlfriend, can you make yourself up? Can you put a wig on, put some makeup on, put some eyelashes on? And Tammy said, no, I don't like eyelashes. I don't like all that false stuff. I like being all natural. So he's like, well, just do it for me anyway. So she did, but she didn't glam herself up the way she would. And he looked and he's like, no, he's like, my friend Frank is crazy. This is how you look with makeup on. You don't look anything like Karen, right? So obviously she didn't put on as much makeup or look as provocative as she would if she was a working girl. So this started to make her angry, okay? She started to realize that, wait, he can use her up when she's Karen and treat her like just a used piece of nothing and just pay for her. And then when she's Tammy, he treats her like a piece of gold, all because he respects Tammy more, because he thinks Tammy is a maid and not a working girl. So this started to really upset Tammy. And she was like, yo, you know what? This guy needs some type of a lesson. So she started to blackmail him. And she sent herself messages from her other cell phone. Okay, so she was sending herself messages saying, with photos of herself as a dressed up diva. And she was like, hi, your boyfriend Tim and I were together, blah blah blah. And so she went to Tim and she's like, look, this woman sent me messages and said that you're with this woman. Are you with this woman? And Tim was like, no way, no way. And Tim was afraid to lose Tammy. So Tim hightailed it to Sosua to find Karen. You know, he's like calling her off the hook. Come meet me on Pedro Clisante. I need to talk to you. He didn't want to leave any messages, any texts, because he didn't want to get caught. So then Karen meets up with him. Obviously, it's Tammy all glammed up. And he's like, listen, please, don't do this. Like, that woman, Tammy, I love her. Do not get involved in my relationship. What can I do to help you? Like, can I pay you something? Can I pay you off? Like, and Karen was like, yes, you can. And he gave her a couple of $1,000, and Karen was happy with that. And then, you know, he never contacted Karen again. But of course, Karen was Tammy. Tammy took that money, that $2,000, and she went and she got herself a nice little operation that she wanted to get for a while on her butt. She was feeling good. And then, when everything was said and done, she revealed it to Tim. She went out, she got her eyelashes on, she got her wig on, she got everything on, and then she went to her apartment, because her and Tim were living together by this point, and she knocked on her apartment door. And when Tim opened the door, he almost had a heart attack when he saw Karen standing there. And he's like, oh my gosh. He was terrified because he thought Tammy was going to be home any minute. And Tammy said to him, baby, it's me. It's me, baby. And he looked at her and he's like, what? And she's like, it's me. It's me. And she took off the wig and she said, it's me. And she said it in English. And he's like looking at her and he's like, how can that be you? All this time it was you? And she said, yes. I just wanted to prove to you that I can be a wife, but I'm tired of this. I need to be honest with you, and I need to tell you. And he's like, and where have you been? Right? Where was she? She went and had her little butt operation. She told him she was leaving him, but she took off for 2 weeks because she went and she got her butt operation in Santo Domingo, and she had to be there for 10 days. Afterwards and everything like that, for the doctors to check up on her. So she took off for 2 weeks, and he thought she left him. And so that's when she got back, and that's when she glammed herself up, and she was showing him, look, this is what I did with your $2,000. And not only that, I am your working girl. He's like, how could that be? Like, you don't even... Like, in the bedroom, you're completely different than the other woman. Like, how could this be? And she's like, let's go. And she took him in the bedroom, and she made love to him the way Karen would. His mind was blown. He couldn't believe it. Right now, he still is in shock. He doesn't know if he wants her. She's agreed to stop working on the streets. He's agreed to pay her for now. Give her a little allowance because she doesn't know what else to do. She doesn't work in a store. She doesn't want to be a maid. She doesn't have the education to go be in the bank or anything of that nature. So now he said he will pay for her to stay home until they figure something out. In the meantime, she's trying to learn more English, and they are looking at online options for her to go to school. And that's what it's all come down to. So guys, the moral of the story, know who your girl is, with makeup on and with makeup off. Thank you for joining me. Huge hugs, loads of love, big blesses. Thank you for subscribing.